notice in these PowerPoints that we'll be doing, a lot of them have a lot of text. I don't like putting a lot of text on PowerPoints. It looks sometimes like almost like a page in Word. But again, the idea is, you know, having something that you can forward to your colleagues, so having something that, I mean, there's no way we're going to be able to cover 100% of what's in every single PowerPoint. This is a training, but we are putting the details in there so you can later refer to this documentation. This is living, breathing. It will be changing every 2 weeks. So we are putting it up on our portal, just like the training. There's 2 portals. We have our web, but you also have, as clients, access to our knowledge base. So if you don't have access, please note that there's a big repository there. I think Adolfo, Maria, Noé, and Sunsil have put up just in Power BI this last couple of weeks over 50 documents and videos on Power BI or Power BI for Dynamics GP and other Dynamics reporting information. So please know that all this information we're putting up, there's a lot of people doing research and investigation, reading through it, making sure it's quality. So a lot of it has been vetted. Please also note it's at your disposal. There's hundreds and hundreds of hours of work and research. I would say we're 1,000 right now in that knowledge base. So by a lot of people here. So there's a lot of effort there. Unfortunately, Microsoft's portals, customer source, really it's missing a lot of content. So what we're trying to do is put that content there. And part of this, you will notice that the PowerPoints have different fonts and looks and feels, and it's because we've been bringing in from so many sources. So basically, we've chewed all of this up for you, and there's been a lot of people doing the chewing here. So let's start with the roadmap. If we don't understand the GP roadmap, you guys won't understand the reporting tools and why we are where we are and where everything's going. So as you know, right now we're in GP 2016, GP 2018. Is supposed to be launched sometime in December of this year, to be conservative. I'm saying around January of 2018. And what you'll see in this table, and I won't go from version to version, is let's say very high level enhancements and improvements. So what I do want to highlight from basically what we're seeing here, and I'm going to use a spotlight tool here, is number one, and that's a red dot is me. Number one is web client. Looks like it's finally maturing. It's on HTML5. It's responsive. The web client that Microsoft launched in 2015, that architecture technology has been changed. So, you know, we made a good decision not to recommend clients to go to the web client in GP 2015 because in 2016 it would have been re-implementations and retraining. And what used to be web client before, which was SharePoint and Business Portal, which was GP 2013 and before, that's been eliminated. So no more Business Portal, SharePoint. Why am I mentioning this in a reporting training? The reason why I'm mentioning this is you'll be seeing a lot of discussions today about what's analyzing, authoring, developing a report, what's consuming a report, and what's distributing or making a report accessible. So I'll touch on that point pretty soon, but you know, outside of running reports out of GP and hitting run or hitting print or sending an email, another way of sharing reports is through the web, right? We'll see Power BI, OData 2.0. Something here, we're also seeing Power Suite and GP, hint, hint, Power BI, Power BI. We're not seeing anything that says Report Writer. We're not seeing anything that says Management Reporter, and hint. So basically, I think this is, let's say, when you read through the lines, everybody will be understanding. Why are we bringing this up? We're bringing this up because with the evolution of reporting and technology and mobility and everything else, also, these technologies are affecting how Microsoft does R&D. I'm also saying this because a lot of you want reports today, or a lot of you are gonna be upgrading from GP 2010 or GP 10. There are people here on GP 10 to GP 2016 or 2018. So it is important that you understand, as you migrate your reports, you do need to consider not migrating it in the same tool you've always had, and really consider doing it in another tool. So right now there's, and yes, I'm laughing, there's 10 reporting options for Dynamics GP 2016 forward. We have a lot of people on this call in different versions in GP, so it's impossible for us to have a one-size-fits-all. So we're doing our best here to talk to everybody who's on different versions, different upgrade scenarios, different ISV solutions. I know we have somebody here who's implementing a facilities preventive corrective maintenance solutions with mobility, right? And Power BI, even though was already recommended and recognized by the ISV as being the best solution to, let's say, to run some operational key performance indicators and reporting. So that's somebody in GB 2015. Right, so that's not even talking future versions. So this is real. It's happening. It's happening in the Caribbean. It's happening in Latin America. This is not an American thing. So we'll do a brief overview of what's within GP: Smart List, Navigation List, all views, inquiry windows, and out-of-the-box reports. Right. This is what I call the ugly reports. This is also what we would say is within GP's quote-unquote source code, and very important, a big differentiator between within GP and not within GP, right? Within GP versus not within GP is the fact that it's pretty hard to do anything of this with other data sources or people outside of your four walls or organizations. We know it's the year 2017, even if we're in the Caribbean, even if, let's say, we're emerging markets in the US, it's the year 2017, and mobility is a second-hand nature thing now, right? GP put a lot of money in it, Microsoft Dynamics, so there are solutions around this. So it's pretty hard to work nowadays without having an outside source. So you see this graphic here, it's supposed to be something called AI, artificial intelligence. So you're probably reading on a daily basis in the newspaper, Microsoft announces Cortana, all of a sudden is no longer Cortana, it's Cortana AI. Apple comes and they say, Siri is Siri AI, artificial intelligence. Now we go everybody from Intel to Oracle to Google to Salesforce, you name it, they all have, they're investing billions or hundreds of millions of dollars in AI. So we need to understand, I like to go from the macro 30,000 foot view and come down. We need to understand what's AI, how's that impacting your organization today, and how will AI impact your organization in the next 2 or 3 years. And it is impacting it, believe me, it is. So AI is nothing more than something called algorithms, advanced planning, mixed with, let's say, collaborative technologies and business processes that are within the four walls and outside the four walls. So, when you put an order of a product for a client, you have to put an order to a supplier. It goes outside of the four walls. It comes back. The order comes into your four walls. You deliver it to a client, right? It can also be a service. Right, so it goes outside of your four walls. So that's a collaborative approach or process, let's say, using the word fulfillment. But what's happening with AI is it's basically that. It's basically, I like to use the example of demand planning. Demand planning is when you buy a product and you resell it and you have a warehouse. And when you do demand planning is you're trying to figure, you're trying to forecast. I'll use the word forecast. So AI is also forecasting and being predictive. So you're out there and you want to forecast, you want to predict how much you're going to sell. So you can predict how much you're going to buy, so you have the right amount of inventory in your warehouse. The right amount of inventory is not having too much, because then you don't have enough space, or you have a lot of capital in your inventory, but not having too little that you can't deliver the product to your client, and affects customer service and profitability. Before and now, there's a lot of solutions that use algorithms that are called demand planning solutions. And algorithms are very intelligent people, a lot of times scientists and mathematicians and business-oriented people, who sit down and write these formulas that are then programmed, that helped predict, help all of us predict, or help the client or the entity predict what they have to buy, when they have to buy it, how many employees they need to have in place, and how many trucks certain days so they can deliver it. Basically, that's what these algorithms do. And their programs, and GP used to have a demand planning program. We have an ISV that does it, et cetera, et cetera. So now this is also going a step further, so that those algorithms use data, typically within your ERP, or data you plug in into the system. Now we have somebody called IBM. They have an AI called Watson, and IBM bought a company called weather.com. Yes, it's the company that a lot of times we go to our cell phones or the computer to check out the 10-day forecast. So why is a company like IBM buying a website that does weather? Easy. Did you know that when it rains, restaurants get less people? When it rains, less people go shopping. When it rains in a Caribbean island, where most of the shopping is done outdoors, and it's a Saturday, by the way, and people don't have much to do, and it's pouring out raining, a lot of families get on a car and they go to the mall that's closed, that's air conditioned, right, like the outlet malls in Miami or whatever, and then they tend to go more to those malls because they want to do something. They can be outdoors and they can't do their shopping anywhere else. So all these conditions go into algorithms and they help predict, right? So we're trying to get outside sources like currency rates, like social media. So if, for example, in a brand like Coca-Cola, there's people are talking negatively all the way. Coca-Cola changed the taste. It's not tasting good, whatever. Now there's tools called social media listening. You can get a negative listening criteria out of those tools. It can come into these tools and they say, okay, since everybody's talking bad about you, right, Coca-Cola, that means your sales are going to go down 3% in Antigua. Right, to give you an example. So that's really what's AI. It's bringing outside sources of information, making these algorithms that used to cost millions of dollars accessible to everybody, tying it into your ERP or your business systems, and making it easier for people to press a button and get a report out, right? So that's AI. So one of the things is, as you look forward, right, we're going from a 30,000 foot view down. You need to understand that the whole IT and software industry is moving into this. Call it social, call it mobile, call it AI, whatever it is, but outside data sources are going to influence more the ERPs and the reports we're writing. So outside of GP, we have refreshable Excel reports that also come from Cubes, SQL reporting services, management reporter, Power BI with GP data, and third-party CPM tools. What's a third-party CPM tool? Third-party is corporate performance management. So that's more Cognos, Hyperion, BI360. These are a lot more advanced tools that are used for financial reporting, budgeting, forecasting purposes that complement the ERP. So one of the things I told you, there's a lot of slides here. So I'm not going to be reading through each of these slides. A lot of these I'm just going to go over it, or in a particular slide I'll talk about a couple of them. So when we discuss within GP, inside of GP, source code GP, all of you are familiar with these tools, right? You know, the all-in-one views, the portals, the out-of-the-box ugly GP reports, your system screens that you can also export to GP, Smart List, right? Remember, there's Smart List and there's Smart List Builder. Smart List Builder is a module that's sold separately, but Smart List, it'll run these row reports, as a lot of you here know Sheridan. Like what Sheridan's example, he says it's a Google for GP. So it's like entering in a Google search, I want this type of information, and Smart List comes back and presents it in a row and column format that end users can, in a user-friendly manner way, also change criteria. But the limitation with Smart List, and there's a slide that talks about pros and cons out of each one of these. You know, I'll leave it to you guys for homework. For information purposes, there's no way we can go through each one of these. But and a lot of you already work with these, so you know about this, right? But with Smart List, the limitation with Smart List, it only works within a particular module. So you can run Smart List for purchasing, for example. But if you need a Smart List that has purchasing, but you want to bring in sales order information, that's where it has its limitations. So Smart List Builder is basically, it's a tool that allows you to bring in information from different modules and GP. So again, as I mentioned, I already talked about this in a high level, you know this. I did want to show you down here, we did this for you, which, you know, we gave you screenshot, definition. That's why I say this is a white paper, right? More than a presentation, and then pros and cons. So for people who have been logging in a little bit late, as I mentioned, this presentation PowerPoint, I don't like to put as much wording in a PowerPoint, but from a 10, 20-page PowerPoint, this has evolved basically into a white paper, and we do want to share this white paper for you so you can forward it, use it for future reference. Again, out-of-the-box reports, pros and cons, you know this. Smart List, just talked about it at this point in time. Navigation list, same thing. And, you know, report writer, report builder, which is part of the report writing skill tools within GP. With that said, outside of GP, so let's say this is you getting ready for artificial intelligence. So all of you can go back to your kids this evening and tell them, you know what, the system I'm working with is AI ready. So it's actually a true statement. So the first one, management reporter, used to be called FRX. What is this good for? Management reporter is best for financial statements, balance sheets, P&Ls, profit and loss, right? Income statements, cash flow statements. It's based on tree hierarchy. It's a great tool when you want to consolidate, when you're using multi-currency and you want to consolidate in multi-currency. It's also a great tool when you want to run, let's say, different types of P&Ls within your organization by subsidiary versus budget. When you want to run financial reports, let's say by department, maintenance department, AOC department, financials department, marketing department, so by cost center. So, you know, in a way, it even complements GP chart of accounts, where, you know, a lot of times when you make decisions on building your chart of accounts, is you're thinking of running one of those report writer reports that are pretty static and hard to customize. Well, you know, this gives you a certain level of, you know, without having to change your chart of accounts, you can do more, let's say, adequate, advanced, detailed analysis around your operations. It is not good, and I'll say it, it is not good as a business intelligence tool. Dashboarding, it is not good for operations. You know, how many picks in a warehouse per hour, how many service work orders we're doing in our organization per week. So this is not a tool for KPIs. It's not a tool for operations, for manufacturing. It's a tool for accountants. It's a tool for finance department. It's a tool for sales performance. The other thing is it's pretty user friendly. So it does require a lot. It does require more training, obviously, than using Report Writer or SmartList, because it's a more sophisticated tool and you can do a lot more with it. But a lot of our client super users, controllers, they end up doing their own reports or doing modifications of complex reports we do for them. So, you know, let's say end users, non-technical people can learn how to use it. On the flip side, SSRS reports gives you that row column reports. Microsoft has been investing a lot in SSRS reports. So for Dynamics GP, thing is, every time there's a service pack, every time there's a release in GP, and NAV, and Solomon, and AX, the report counts changes. Typically, what we're seeing is report writer reports and SmartList, they're staying about the same, sometimes even less reports and forms. So let me rephrase this. A report can be a column report, can be a graphical report. A report can also be a form. What's a form? An invoice, accounts receivable statement, and any type of, you know, a form your organization may present to an outside stakeholder or an internal one. So that's a form, it's also a report. So with SSRS reports, Microsoft started when they phased out or they killed Crystal Reports, they started building report packs for SSRS. We've noticed that over 80% of clients have not turned on the SSRS. There's out-of-the-box reports in SSRS. Benefits of SSRS, a lot of your report writer reports are in SSRS. A lot of times it's easier to customize it or change in SSRS. Some of your forms, and I'm using the word forms, and I'm talking to GP. I'm not talking about NAV or AX. So I'm catering this to you guys. So I mean, around the GP side of things, you're talking about you know, SSRS. My understanding now, it's hit over 100 reports within GP. The reports we're talking about here, out of the box, right? It doesn't mean out of the box will work for you. That's very different. Out of the box means it'll grab your data or run it out of the box. Another thing, it fits your business process, right? Or your analysis or reporting criteria and requirement. But out of the box right now, GP has easily over 300 reports and variants of reports. So, and then a lot of those reports, you can also set parameters with them. So you can have a report that, you know, you can run that same report by year, by quarter, by day. So, you know, once you start putting all the combinations in place, you guys can then up with over 1,000 reports just out of the box. So most of you have not implemented this library. It's in there since GP, I think, 2010, if I'm not mistaken. 2013 is when it got decent. 2015 forward, it's pretty good. They're in there. You get paginated reports. You get reports with graphs like you're seeing right now. This tool is a lot more sophisticated. So if you see, I put a note up here, right? And I'm using my little pen. I'm having a little bit of fun over here. And you see here, there's a deeper dive section, you know, in future slides. So basically, what I'm trying to let you know is we're not going to, at this point in time, we're not going to get deeper. We will get deeper a little bit downwards. I do want to leave more time for Power BI, since it's Microsoft's big focus. Out of reporting, I would tell you, has the biggest R&D right now. So I do want Adolfo to spend a little bit more time in there. BI 360, you also have third-party tools. BI 360 complements certain areas of GP. It does not substitute all of them. It does not substitute management reporter and a lot of aspects. And other, it could do better reports, but SSRS may also do it. And the first two are for free. It does have pretty good forecasting and budgeting that none of the GP tools does. So, I mean, there's always on the outside, but this one is not for free. This one does have a separate charge, but I am giving you visibility. BI360 is what we call also a CPM tool, corporate performance management. Even though Microsoft has a lot of tools, has hundreds and hundreds of reports, it's still missing a lot of components to be called a true CPM tool like Hyperion, Cognos, Business Objects, BI360. The other tool you have, and you'll see here, note, deeper dive, will soon be done in a future section, right? So, you know, and in that tool, a lot of our clients are not using it either. And you have two types of reports. You have some pretty simple reports in Excel. It does require you to have a certain version of Microsoft Office installed in the PC and in the server. And then there's Excel cubes. So that's basically a business intelligence cube built on SQL reporting services where Excel is the visualizer. So let's talk English. What did I just say? That basically says is if you look at data like a Rubik's Cube. So a Rubik's Cube has supposed to be all red in one side, green in another, yellow in another, right? So a Rubik's Cube has a lot of colors. But right, what happens if you want to take a look at that Rubik's Cube in a different color combination? You know what? On one side, I want to see all colors, or on the other side, I only want to see two colors in there, right? So what do? You just start shifting the cubes around. So what's cube and technology and in reporting? It's basically taking information, in your case Dynamics GP. We can also take information from Dynamics CRM, or let's say you're an airport and you have let's say a logistics landing system. I'm making stuff up, right? And you want to bring in information on flight times and this and that, or you're in utilities and you want to bring in information about, let's say, electricity downtime and uptime to then do a report and compare it against receivables or revenue, right? So depends on which industry any of you are in here. With Excel cube, since it's in SQL, we can also extract information and you know, create a cube. And the visualizer, it's Excel. What does visualizer Excel means? It means that instead of getting a report on a white piece of paper with a couple of graphs, you get the same report in Excel, which you can then manipulate and play with. So everybody loves Excel. I know that. That's a no-brainer. Please know when I say some of these cubes are out of the box, they're out of the box. If you did customizations to your GP environment, we need to take a look at it. When I say out of the box, it doesn't mean it works for everybody. It doesn't mean that if, for example, you're a food and beverage distributor or a retailer, and you install this, we're bringing in information automatically. You know, it's not a button you press and it brings in information from your outside systems, your loyalty system or your point of sale system, or let's say you distribute Kellogg's, you know, and Kellogg sends you information from their SAP system. You know, out of the box doesn't mean magic wand, it's going to work automatically, right? Just setting a little bit of expectations. Here's a sample report. And again, some of these reports are out of the box. So revenue by country, you know, it could be revenue by airline, right? If you're an airport, it could be, you know, if you're a retailer, a supermarket retailer, it could be revenue by department, grocery department, meat department, fish, whatever. So a lot of these cubes are pulling in from Dynamics GP, from preset fields that are or should be set up. Sometimes to run this report, you may have to go to GP and do an upload and say, hey, you know, I'm missing this field, so the report can run, right? So the report's out of the box. It's always important to take a look at what information you're inputting and using in GP, and if you're going to bring in outside information. Power BI, and again, has the same note, but in today's presentation, we will do a deep dive because of the importance and the amount of questions we're getting from the market. So, and on this section, all I'm going to say is the R&D bucks are in there. Adolfo is going to talk about it, and there's one important slide I do want to give you. So, I did this little drawing on Gartner Group. First thing, February 2017. February 2017, what does this say? This is not a 5-year-old study. Who's Gartner Group? Gartner Group is one of the most prestigious, independent research and analyst firms out there, and their clients are companies like yours looking for technology. So in the recent Gartner study on business intelligence and analytics, Microsoft just ranked #1. How is this analyzed? Ability to execute, which I'm going to mark here on the side with a yellow highlighter. And the other thing is they're looking at is completeness of vision. What does this say? It says, #1, what they're saying, what they're marketing, what they're selling to you does work. So everything they say that they do does work. It also says has a lot or little functionality. So in this quadrant, the higher you are here, it means the more robust, the more functionality. The lower you are, it means the least functionality. Then, and remember, BI 360, you don't see it here because they're not really a BI and analytics firm. They're a CPM. So you're not going to see a Solver is the owner of BI 360. They're not going to be in here. You're going to see the IBMs of the world, the Oracles, the SAPs. So right now you have Microsoft Power BI up here and SSRS. The other thing, it says completeness of vision. What does this say? This says that the company is investing a lot of money in R&D, and not only that, they're investing money in R&D and future versions are going to be coming out. It also says, by the way, what they're investing in, we Gartner think they're in the right path. They're innovators. They're disruptors in the industry. We're disruptors and disrupting the competition, not disrupting you guys. So basically, Gartner's saying this is the #1 solution. And guess what, guys? The Power BI Content Pack for GP is for free. Guess what? On their GP 2016 and 18, there's a new Power BI on-premise that gives you limited, and I'll say limited, Power BI reports, but you do get Power BI reports for free. There is a $10 charge per month or somewhere around there on average, depending if you're government on an enterprise agreement with a whole bunch of discounts, or if you're a regular client. So let's say on average prices are around $10 per user per month that Microsoft charges, and it's not all of your ERP users. It's if you have 2 people using it, it's $20 a month, and it's basically they're renting out their servers in the cloud to process a lot of your data, Power BI data and reports, so you don't have to buy a new server, have to buy new databases, have to have IT people maintaining this big processing platform. So the easiest non-technical way of explaining why Microsoft is charging $10 per month is basically they're leasing out they're leasing out some of their space, right, to do the processing for you, so you're able to get into BI. So when people get into analytics and business intelligence, what historically has been one of the biggest barriers of entry has been more processing, IT people. I need to get virtual servers in. It has been having to buy other applications like business objects, like TIPCO, like Clarify, et cetera, right? So BI 360. So it's been all these investments, and then having to pay a consultant to do the reports, or learn, or getting training and doing the reports yourself. So you know, this is one of the the things that I understand, because cloud is not perfect and it's not good to everybody. But where I understand that the cloud benefits the Caribbean, benefits U.S. customers that are price sensitive and don't have $1 million budgets to do this, is basically a lot of that total cost of ownership, upfront cost for you guys to be able to do. And I said it, artificial intelligence, advanced reporting, BI, that's been taken out of you. And then people tell me, I can't believe it, Hector, $10 a month. And I say, think about it. There's hundreds and hundreds of millions of people using Office every single day. So Power BI also works out of this, right? Microsoft has what? They say they're hitting 1 billion or 2 billion users in Windows and people using Microsoft stuff. So think about it. If you get 100 million people, which in corporate America alone, Microsoft has 100 million people using Office for work. If you get 100 million people to pay $10 a month for artificial intelligence and for BI, that's $1 billion in revenue Microsoft gets per month just for that little Power BI $10 thing. And then think about it. They're grabbing all that data, and then they're going to sell commercials to you or to somebody else. So somehow or another, they're going to make some advertising behind it, believe me. So they're not giving you away. It's not a gift. It's not a gimmick. It's a business model that makes a lot of sense, right? You take away the cost of barriers of entry, you hook everybody up on this, they're paying $10, all of a sudden you're receiving $1 billion, $2 billion a month without lifting a finger. And you're using your same data center where you're running Azure and you're running Dynamics 365 and you're running your company, which you already have the IT people doing it. So incremental costs, sure, they have to buy more hardware to run this. For the world, but at the end of the day, hardware is also a lot cheaper, and they can get a lot cheaper than you guys. So, I mean, it's once you peel away the layers, it's an interesting model. So now, before passing it to Adolfo, we need to understand something very important, and we need to understand these concepts, not only for all the tools that I just explained, but the deeper dive that we're doing in SQL reporting services and in Power BI. So number one is and we're going to go over by around 10 minutes when I pass it to Adolfo. So all of you who can stay on board, you're more welcome. There's, let's say, 3 different pillars that goes behind reporting. Not SQL Server, like it says here, Power BI. I mean, and the 10 tools that we showed you at the beginning. First, analyze, author, then deliver, then consume. What does this mean? Analyze and author means sitting down, understanding your requirement needs, your chart of accounts, what your management wants, who are your stakeholders. So stakeholders, I would say, come over here, or your stakeholders are your board of directors, your owners, if you're a government entity, the central government. Your stakeholders are also your banks. If you have a loan in the bank and you need to send monthly or weekly or whatever reporting, instead of putting your staff down to do these reports for 8, 16 hours, sometimes it's just easier to press a button and email a report over, right? So banks, outside stakeholders. And you also have internal stakeholders or consumers. IT does the reports, but finance, marketing, sales, general management, et cetera, et cetera. So first step before doing any type of report is analyzing it, right, before it's authored. Now with all these options and with AI and the transition, guys, by the way, hint, hint, Microsoft at a given time, at a given version, they eliminated Report Writer. And then they had to come back and say, you know what, we took it out of the roadmap. We were deleting it like we did with Crystal Reports, but because of popular demand, now we're putting it back, right? So Report Writer's back, but Microsoft's tried taking it away, right? FRX was changed for Management Reporter, hint, hint, right? SQL reporting services and Power BI are getting all the love and care right now. And hint, what's going to happen next year? What's going to happen 2 years from now? What's going to happen in version 2020? Hint, hint, right? Microsoft won't share that, but, and they've had a history going back and forth, but we need to work with what we have in front of us today. We need to understand what may happen. And when you choose what to do your reports in, all of that also needs to be taken in consideration, where you are, where you want to get out. I understand in Dynamics GP, there's not one tool fits all, right? And in some cases, Microsoft Excel and Excel cubes may make sense for a lot of you. Other times it may not. Some of you with Report Writer and Power BI, you have more than enough. Others of you, you'll require everything. So, I mean, this is more on a case-by-case basis. Feel free to contact us. Adolfo, I, Sansil, Sheridan, Maria, Jose, I mean, you name it. We can organize something, have more of a one-on-one discussions with you. It's not expected that you share your name or your information. By the way, at the end, we will have question and answer session. You can share your questions. You don't need to give the name of your company or yourself to keep it confidential. But reporting, I know it's sensitive. It's like, you know, saying how many TVs you have in front of your house, inside of your house. You don't tell everybody. You only tell people hey, I have 3 TVs and 2 Apple TVs in my house, right? So you probably tell your friend you don't, or your mother, you don't tell everybody. So it's, you know, it's a little bit personal. I understand. So analyze and author. The next, you know, the next is delivering. How do we deliver it? Do we deliver it via an email? With what? Is it delivered via an email in an Excel document? So you can have an SSRS report or a smart list builder report that you can export to Excel and you can send it. Why? Because the other user, it's easier for them or they want to manipulate it. Will you be delivering that report in mobile devices, tablets, and a PC, or you're going to print it out, or a combination of them? And then why you need to understand the delivery is the consumption. So how's the report going to be consumed? Are you a CFO and you know, you work from 8 to 5, you work hard, and you have kids you have to go back to at home and do homework until 7 or 8, put them to sleep, and then get back at your computer and keep on working? And I know there's a couple of mothers here who are listening at this, and they're cracking up because it's true. And men also. I mean, it happens to me. Last night, you know, I had dinner with my daughter, picked her up, and I was working until 11 o'clock. So, you know, sometimes opening up, we're in bed, it's 10 o'clock at night, we're a purchasing manager, and we know we have to approve a purchase order that needs to go out today so that the supplier can put it in a ship tomorrow, because we live in the Caribbean and we have limited options of shipping, right? So, or we're bringing in something from China to mainland US. Isn't it just easier to open up and mobile device, go to a quick app, GP app you may have in there, or Power BI app, or go to a requisitioning customized app, I don't know, and then go in there and just approve that PO, and then you can continue your day, or you're at dinner on a Friday and this is urgent and your boss wanted this. Isn't it nice to go out to dinner and you're just waiting for the report, and you can go in, you can skip out, go to your car, enter a tablet and answer it, and then go back in. So you know, it's a different world. Our users, our management, they're all expecting to work this way. More important, our customers are expecting us to work this way, and it also makes us more efficient. So it's not about extending the workday out of work. It's, you know, it's about being more productive, and it's also about, you know, how technology is. And believe me, guys, these millennials and you know, who are people between the ages of 21 and 36, 37, they're mobile consumers, they're tablet consumers. They don't work 8 to 5 anymore. They like to have flexibility. And the generation that's coming behind them, the Z generation, it's even, I'm not going to use the word worse, I'm going to use the word different. So, right, stakeholders, who are the reports for? You analyze, author them. How do you deliver it, and how you consume it? So I know Adolfo will be using that terminology more. So I'm going to jump to Adolfo. SQL reporting services. Want to say a couple of things. They're paginated reports. What's a paginated report? That's a report that's in row and column formats that you're used to. They're more easier on the eye, easier to read, easier to change, easier to format, and you can also add graphics, color coding. So for example, you can have different color coding in DB and SSRS and Power BI reports, where you say, hey, the cash balance. And by the way, the cash balance is less than 10, put it in yellow. If it's less than 5, I want to see that red because that means I don't have money in the bank, right? So mobile reports, something very important with this is Microsoft in the latest version of SQL 2016, they added more Power BI integration to GP and to Power BI. This is SQL Server. Right now, today I've used SQL Server and Dynamics GP almost as one tool, right? As versus the database, the ERP. You know, I take a look at this as Dynamics GP SQL. It's almost one thing because of the integration, the different function tools, etc. HTML5 or portal, what does that mean? That means that your SQL reporting services can be viewed on a web portal on your PC. They can. There's also, let's say, responsive. So what's the word responsive? Responsive means if I have a report or a web page and I want to see it on my PC, on my desktop, on my laptop, on my iOS tablet, on my phone, Android tablet, on a large smartphone, on a small smartphone, the screen will adjust or respond to the screen size and to the operating system. So that's responsive. So Power BI and SSRS are now responsive. And again, a lot of wording for those of you who've been coming in late from a presentation with 4 or 5 bullet points. We decided to convert this in a way kind of like into a white paper, right? More examples here. And a lot of times you'll see, you'll be asking yourself, what's the difference between an SSRS web portal and a Power BI one, right? So I'll let Adolfo mention that. And again, a lot of definitions for you guys. And also this PowerPoint, you'll see things that'll probably say GP 2015 or 2016. I mean, a lot of you guys are in different versions, right? This is coming from different sources. So, you know, it's hard to have a one size fits all. So, you know, if you see something mentioning 2015, it typically applies 2015 forward, or there may be cases where there's things that were discontinued. Over 50% of the time of things that were discontinued in SQL 2012 or GP 2013 or 2015, it's because there's something new and better. So, and this changes, I'll repeat it, it changes almost on a quarterly basis. So with that said, Adolfo, I'm going to pass it over to you. So Adolfo, you have the same PowerPoint. I don't know if you want to bring it up. Jenny, I don't know if I can make Adolfo here presenter. I think I can change presenter, Adolfo, and Adolfo, I just made you the presenter. You may be on mute, Adolfo. And Adolfo is on mute. Adolfo, you are on mute. Jenny, can you unmute Adolfo, please? Adolfo. Testing, Adolfo, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully Adolfo didn't sleep on me. Jenny, can you unmute Adolfo? Okay, I am. Ajá, Jenny, puedes sacar a Adolfo, él está muted. Okay. Okay, guys. Adolfo is redialing in. It looks like his voice connection is down. I am seeing his PC right now. So let's give Adolfo one quick second. Ajá, Adolfo. Ok, dale, quítale ahora. Trata de nuevo quitarle el unmute. Pero aparece sin micrófono. Y ahí sale muted. Adolfo. And this is weird because we tested Adolfo's volume at the beginning of the presentation. So we're going to do one more thing. If not, I'll continue with the Power BI part. But give us one quick second. Adolfo, si quieres sal completamente y hazte dialing de nuevo. Okay, bye. Okay, so Adolfo is going to be moving out, and then he's going to dial in again. Jenny, be on the watch out when Adolfo dials in again and convert him into panelist. And again, if you're able to, let's see, can you make me presenter, Jenny? One quick second so I can share my screen and I can continue while Adolfo logs in. And again, everybody, apologies. We did test this before we began. It seems there was some type of technical issue. So, and Jenny, let me know when Adolfo's back in. So while we do that, I'm going to do a quick jump to the Excel reports. I know that presently we've been installing the Excel reports into a couple of our clients in the Caribbean that they were not using it. So let me, these are heading slides, going to the end here. Okay, there's some additional sections, as you're seeing from this quote and unquote white paper that are back here, and you know, this is additional information, more detail on, for example, on Power BI and SQL reporting services and what's in there. So very good information source. So I do see Adolfo coming in. So Jenny, if you can give him speaker rights or volume, or I think there he goes. Adolfo?
I'm here now.
We can hear you. Okay, I'm making you presenter again. And you should have it there, right? This is the old technology 101. If it doesn't work, turn it off and then turn it back on.
Yeah, sorry everyone. I thought we were set, but we're back here. Okay, so let's do a quick introduction about what Power BI is, how it can help you, and then I'll try to do a quick demo, see how we do an actual report from GP data. Okay, so Power BI is we'd say the newest kid on the block for Microsoft, and it's putting huge investments in it since 2015 when it was relaunched. So Power BI is essentially, although with an asterisk, because I'm going to go back to that, an online service for data sharing, analytics, and interaction with live reports. And this graphic summarizes that. Power BI in the middle, powerbi.com. And the reports and dashboards are built using data that can come from cloud services, could be online services like salesforce.com, for example, or Dynamics Online, and it can also come from on-premises data sources like a SQL server on your own server, or Excel files or CSV files. Actually, there's probably like 60 to 70 possible data sources for Power BI. So this is one of the key points for Power BI. You can mash up and combine data from many sources at the same time. A user looking at a dashboard and report will not know where the data came from. It can come from many sources at one time, all put together in a series of graphics and all in seamless to the user. From here, from PowerBI.com, we can control who can access these dashboards and reports, and people can see them through a web browser on a PC, mobile applications, iOS, Android, iPad applications, and also charts and graphics can be integrated into websites. There are APIs for doing that. And with that, people can interact with the reports. Applications such as Microsoft Flow and Microsoft Apps can also consume the dashboards and reports, and this can also be automated with live data refreshes. So PowerBI.com is the hub for all this. Data comes in, reports are built, and users and devices consume the data. And I should say, maybe you were aware of Power BI from before when it was when it came up of Excel. Excel started getting new tools like Power Maps and Power Pivot. Maybe you've heard of this. Power View, and this all evolved into Power BI. And now Power BI is a separate tool. It's not integrated into Excel, although it comes from tools in Excel. So when Power BI was relaunched in 2015 to now, it has seen explosive growth. And that's fueled by Microsoft investment in it. Every month, we have new releases of Power BI features, and now it's become a very powerful tool, as you can see how Gartner now ranks Microsoft in BI tools. Okay, so let's see some 8 to 10 features at a glance, and I'm going to do a quick demo. So we can do dashboards in minutes, and this can be misleading, but it's actually not. I like tools, and this is one of them where the easy stuff is easy, but you can also do the hard stuff. I'm going to give you, you're going to see that I'm going to do a dashboard and report very fast with data already taken from. So it's quick to do. It's meant to be a self-service tool. That's how it started, especially since we see it started with Excel, which is a self-service analytics and data tool. That's where Power BI came from. So it still has that feeling of you can do quick stuff very fast. It's also a very cool feature called Q&A, question and answer, where you can type a question in Power BI online. And if you know the keywords to your data set, in this example, coal, nuclear, electricity per year, USA, it can guess the graphic you were thinking about. That's a very cool feature. This you can do in conjunction with the developer to use regular English names for data. And this can happen. It's a very nice way of interacting with the data set. Also, although we can build graphics ourselves, all sorts of graphics ourselves, we can submit the data to PowerBI.com, and it can come back with quick insights about our data. This is an example that we see here. We submitted sales and profit sales data to PowerBI.com, and it came back with some suggestions. Some of this may not make sense, but some do, and it's a very useful tool for understanding the data. Also, it's integrated with Cortana. Maybe you're familiar with this from Windows 10. You can type in questions in the start button in Windows 10, or talk to it, and it will try to match your question with the data already. Live dashboards, you can see now here the graphics moving. If you have a streaming data set, and this is a name for data that's constantly being updated, like sales coming in minute by minute or second by second, you can integrate Power BI with Azure and live data feeds, and when you look at a report, it's completely live. Also, you can do very cool custom visualizations. You can get out of the typical pie charts and bar charts and tables, And here, this example, you can see that's like an engine, and you hover over it. It's bound to data in different parts of it. You can see a tooltip there, and you can build visualizations that are quite real. Also, there's a feature that I mentioned before where you can have.
Yes, your voice is fading back and forth. So I don't know if you can get closer to the microphone. It feels like if it was a Bluetooth or you walking in and out of a microphone. So if you can get closer, we would really appreciate it.
Okay, is this better?
Continue talking. I'll let you know.
Is this better? Okay, so I'll keep talking. In this example, it's a website from a company that integrated a Power BI report in one of their pages. What else? Even though I said Power BI evolved from Excel, Excel still has features that integrate with Power BI. Power BI is a separate tool now, and you can build charts and graphics and publish them to PowerBI.com right from inside Excel. Also, the consumption of reports in Power BI Mobile with the apps for Android and iOS, and you can even like in this example, you can share charts with annotations on them right from your phone. And all these tools come together to build beautiful things like this. Example from Dynamics, a dashboard about sales.
Yeah. Adolfo, you keep on coming back and forth. I don't know if you wanna. Are you on a Bluetooth device microphone?
No, I'm just with my laptop.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep on going. If not, we may need you to dial in. I can put in Skype the dial in information, and you can dial in with your phone. But it's fading in a lot and out.
Okay. So what do we use to build reports? We use Power BI Desktop. It's a free tool you can download on your laptop, get some data sources, and start building reports. That's a main developer tool for Power BI. Like I said before, you can mash data from many different sources into one report that will be seamless to the user when they interact with it. Analysis can also be done, like I already mentioned, from Excel and for Power BI Desktop, and we're going to see an example of that. Publish with one click. And compliance, this is important. Some people or some organizations may not feel comfortable having their data in PowerBI.com, an online service, even though Microsoft complies with a lot of international standards. That's why a couple of months ago, Power BI Report Server came out. It doesn't have all the features that Power BI has, but I suppose it will in the near future. Some parts of Power BI are free, some are not for the more sophisticated stuff. Like Erickson mentioned, the first paying license is about $2 per user per month. For organizations with many users, and Power BI Premium. As this is per bandwidth, for example. Okay, so let's do a quick example here.
So
my audio.
Yeah, so yeah, your audio is still acting up, Adolfo. In Skype, I gave you a 1-800 number, US number, so you can dial in while your voice. So don't disconnect anything here. What you can do is you can just go on mute, and after you dial in, you can lower the volume and your laptop. But while you do that, Adolfo, I'll explain a couple of concepts. So I know that, and Adolfo is dialing in with his phone. I do know that some of you, we have some clients are for example, in hospital healthcare, although US HIPAA doesn't apply, it is, let's say, compliant with, as Adolfo stated, with a lot of these regulation. Security is also very tight. Something about the installation of Power BI, especially those of you that have GP and are interested in the content pack, is uh, it's more of a technical and the background type of installation. Adolfo works with your IT people to do it, and then there's connectors that pre-built connectors. GP has them, Nav has them, and there's also pre-made content packs or let's say report libraries. So you do the whole aspect of setting it up. It's not a 2-week thing, right? It typically gets set up in a couple of days. There's typically a little bit of troubleshooting. For you, the users, there's a little free app, Power BI app, that you can go to the Android store, you can go to the Apple store, download it, and then the reports that are being published in the web portal, they can also be, let's say, allowed or security to be published, viewed through mobile devices, all of these being responsive, as I mentioned, where they fit the screen. The other thing is I run some of the Power BI reports on my Apple iPhone, and I can definitely tell you all that once they're run, they are let's say you can also change parameters, and there's real life data in there that you can also interact. With that said, Jenny, I think Adolfo already dialed in. You need to look for somebody that dialed in via phone or voice so you can give them volume. Since Adolfo dialed in, you have Adolfo here, so you would have to make them, Jenny, let's call it a panelist. So we're not hearing Adolfo yet, Jenny. Look for somebody that's a panelist. I mean, somebody that entered just with a phone, one of the last people. Okay, so we're looking for Adolfo's audio. Give us a second. And apologies to everybody. So as you can see, and one of the reasons you're seeing here on the screen that we are doing a Dynamics GP demo, right? So that's why I'm trying to improve Adolfo's volume quality so you can appreciate that. If not, we'll have to fall back to the other mode or the other method. So I'm with Jenny on the line, and she's identifying Adolfo now. She's gonna give him volume over the phone. Give us a second, okay? Jenny, ajá, ¿lo encontraste? Pero no va a decir Adolfo, creo que va a ser color. Va a aparecer. Va a aparecer, okay. Okay, okay, no problem. Adolfo, can you get out of mute? We're gonna have to continue with your PC. The phone didn't work. Adolfo? Adolfo? There you go. Okay, Adolfo.
Okay, well, we're almost done, so hopefully this won't be much.
Yeah, so something you can do, Adolfo, when volume or call qualities are low, you can speak a little bit slower, and that helps a lot. So try to speak a little bit slower.
Okay, wonderful. Here I open Power BI Desktop. It's the free tool for developing Microsoft Power BI reports. I'm not going to go through all the details. I just want to show you how something can be done and published online and then share with your colleagues very quickly. I already have a query that goes to the GP SQL Server database and brings, in this case, sales transactions to be receivables. I'm going to use this data to develop a few charts. So I'm going to skip this part. Just know that I went to the SQL Server database to retrieve this data. I have it right here. I have city and country for customers for each sales transaction. I have the amount, I have the year, I have the salesperson and the territory. So I'm going to do a quick one. So who are our best customers? I'm going to do a table first. Put the customer name and the sales amount. And those are the sales for each customer. If I want to have a ranking, I could do it here, or I could have a chart. I'm going to do a bar chart. The default bar chart, it's not ranked, it's not sorted, but I can sort it. So I can see sort by sales. So I can see the Plaza one is our best customer. If I do a mouse over here, I can see that they purchased $167,000 in sales. Okay. If I want to slice this by territory, I can bring in the territory from here and make it into a slicer. I do that, I have my 8 territories, and if I click on one of them, then my chart is going to filter. And I can analyze and explore my best customers by territory. Also, if I want to see the actual amounts by territory, I could do another chart. So let's say let's do a column chart this time, where I'm going to bring in the territories and then the sales. And those are my territories. In this case, in alphabetical order by territory, with their sales. I can also explore by salesperson, who are my best salespeople. I can do another chart. Salesperson, and then the sales again. And then I rank them. Now we see that Paul is the best salesperson. And one neat thing about Power BI is that I can cross-filter charts. If I want to see Paul's performance, if I click on Paul's bar there, it's going to highlight me the customers that Paul serves. And same for Greg. And also it shows me the territory they're in. So this is one of the key features of Power BI, the exploration part. I can also do it with other charts. If I see, okay, what's happening on territory 1, I have 1 salesperson, and those are the customer served, territory 8. Okay. And then I can also have a trend line for years, see how yearly sales are doing. So let's make this a little bit smaller here. Let's bring in a line chart. Let's put the sales here in the axis, the values, and I'll have my sales per year. Okay. And one last thing I can do a map to see where my customers are. So let's turn to another page. And what I want to do is have the customer, I mean the city and the country of the customers, and then the sales amount. And that's one of the possible maps I can have. This is the basic one. If I can use a more sophisticated map. Let's bring in that. We'll format it a little. It's going to look very pretty. And this is going now live online to get all the geographical data. Seems as if my internet connection is not cooperating very much. Let's do some formatting while it does that. I have to wait for it. So if we wait too much, I'll stick to the regular map. Let's do that. Okay.
By the way, Adolfo, your voice quality is a lot better. So possibly you talking slower, it's helping with the microphone.
Okay, great. Okay, so I am back to the basic map. The larger the circle, the bigger the sales. Okay. So I can explore here where my customers are. Okay, so I can save that and let me publish it online. Once I do that, I can share with other people. I can see it on my mobile phone and all that. So I just click publish here. I'm already logged in, so I don't think it's going to ask me for credentials here. Let's see. Ask me where I want to publish it. It's going to load. Let me go to powerbi.com quickly here. So we okay, it's there. Got it. Let's sign in here. I'm also going to show you how it looks on my phone. Here I am. Go to my workspace. Typical presentation behavior from the internet. Slow. Okay, here we are. So let's see. Oh, dashboards. Let's look at the reports. Here we are. GP dashboard demo. That's the one. Okay, so now it's it's online. And from here, I'm not going to go into that now, but from here, I can share with other people that have Power BI accounts, and all my colleagues can look at the same data I have. One last thing is automatically published also on all the mobile devices. So I'm going to connect to my phone here. Let's go back here. Let's see. Let's get this. Okay, remote control here. Great. A little slow, but it's on its way. The Power BI app. Click on that. Wow, it's super slow. That's hard. Here we go. That's my workspace there. Same thing we saw online. I'll go to reports. And there it is. GP dashboard demo. Okay, there we go. So that's a quick example of developing a simple report and then publishing it online, accessible to all our colleagues for sharing the data. Okay. So that's it. I understand we're way over time. I apologize for all the technical inconveniences, but that's a quick demo of Power BI. Load data from different sources, work on it on your desktop or laptop, store the data, format it, publish it online, and share with colleagues across all devices.
Okay, and Adolfo, on the obviously you're available to discuss this in a little bit more detail. This was a very quick demo. It doesn't necessarily mean that this is what people need to do, right? There's reports that are published, and they can receive them via email, cell phones, because I know a lot of times with so many bits and fields, we may get a little bit confused. And Adolfo, can you talk a second about the Power BI on-premise? And I think with Maria, you're doing an installation of Power BI with MGP. Can you talk to that for a second?
So the Power BI report server just came out a couple of months ago, and it has a subset of the functionality of the Power BI online version, and you can have your data on your server, not share it or not publish it online, and have some of the same features that PowerBI.com has. I assume it's going to evolve and get closer to the features. I don't know if the Microsoft goal is to make it the same as the online version.
Okay, and so again, I want to thank everybody for participating. This is being recorded. It's going to be, if you want a copy of it, write to us. You're going to receive a quick email during the day today, thanking you for participating. If there's a survey, don't worry, it's a 5-question survey. I think it's yes or no's. You don't need to answer it, and the survey is confidential. For those of you, Adolfo and I can stay a couple more minutes. Are there any questions? Feel free to post them here in the chat, and we can answer the questions.